Friends, colleagues, the #1 responsibility of government is to keep its citizens safe. Safe in their homes, safe in their businesses, safe in their communities. It's not partisan, and it's not optional. It's fundamental. But right now, that promise has been broken. Under the Liberals' Bill C-75, our bail system was rewritten. Judges were ordered to apply a so-called principle of restraint. And do you know what that means? It means repeat violent offenders, people who are known to police, who have a record of crime after crime, are put right back on our streets. And it's left my community of Cloverdale-Langley City living in fear. Today, I want to share with you 3 stories, not from some faraway place, not from a textbook or a report. These are stories from my own backyard, stories of businesses, families, and seniors who have paid the price for Ottawa's dangerous experiment with catch and release justice. First, picture this: a wedding banquet. Families are gathered, music is playing, parents are dancing with their children. That's what a banquet hall is supposed to be: a place of joy, a place of community. But in Surrey, at the Reflections Banquet Hall, that joy was shattered. Instead of wedding bells, there were gunshots. Instead of safety, there was fear. The hall became a target of an extortion network that has been terrorizing South Asian businesses across the Fraser Valley. In early June, the owner, Satish Kumar, received a voicemail demanding $2 million and threatening his family. Within days, shots were fired at 3 businesses connected to him. This is what organized extortion looks like: anonymous calls, threats against your children, and warning shots at your door if you don't pay. And it's not just one victim. It chills a whole corridor of small businesses. Weddings get canceled, bookings dry up, and an entire community starts looking over its shoulder. Here's the core failure: a legal environment that emboldens criminals. When the consequence for violent intimidation is a quick release, the message it sends is, keep going. Liberal Bill C-75, the principle of restraint, and Bill C-5's repeal of mandatory jail time for serious gun crimes, including extortion with a firearm, have combined to lower the cost of terror for gangs and raise the cost of living for everybody else. The banquet hall wasn't just a building. It was supposed to be a safe place for families. Well, the law didn't protect it. Then there's the tragic story of Tori Dunn. Tori's not just a name in the newspaper. She's a daughter. She's a friend. She's one of us. And she was attacked brutally by a man who never should have been free. A man with a record. A man known to police. A man who, under any system that valued the safety of women, the safety of families, would have been behind bars. But because of Liberal Bill C-75, he wasn't. He was out on bail, and Tori paid the price. Now, when I talk to people in my riding about Tori's story, they don't just shake their heads. They clench their fists and they ask, how? How could this happen? How could our justice system look at his record and set him free? She was 30, an entrepreneur, a daughter, a friend, and she was brutally killed in her own home in Port Kells in 2024. Her murderer, Adam Mann, was already facing 8 other charges, including aggravated assault, from just a week earlier. You don't need a law degree to see the pattern. Liberals told the courts to restrain. The courts complied. A dangerous man was back in the community. A young woman is dead, and her family is left asking how a system could see the risk and choose release. This isn't complicated. When Parliament says err on the side of release, People like Tori carry the risk. This is not just about Tori, though. It's about every woman who wonders if she's safe walking home at night. It's about every parent who wonders if their daughter will make it home. It's about whether the justice system values the safety of our families or the comfort of repeat offenders. Now let me tell you about something else that happened just down the road from my place in the heart of Langley. It was early morning, June 1st, on Fraser Highway. The sun had barely risen, and a woman was standing by the curb when out of nowhere, she was shoved into the street, and she fell really hard, and before she could even get her bearings, she was kicked and punched again and again. All of it captured on video. Now, this wasn't a scuffle. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a brutal, unprovoked attack. And the man responsible, Hugh Mason, is no stranger to police. He's already known for violence, already known for breaching the law. And yet, he was there on our streets, free to lash out at an innocent woman. And here's what makes this hit home even worse for me. This wasn't just any street corner. This was steps away from the seniors' home built by my own church community, the home where my grandparents lived. It's filled with seniors who worked a lifetime, who built this country, who should be able to walk outside without fear. And imagine the conversations after that crime. Seniors telling their grandchildren, "Can you walk me to the pharmacy? I don't feel safe alone." That's not the Canada that they helped build. That's not the promise that they earned. And yet here we are, because a bail system tilted in favor of the offender gave another chance to a man who had already burned through all his chances. Because Bill C-75 by the Liberals told judges to restrain themselves, even when restraint meant danger for everybody else. This is what catch and release looks like in real life. It's not just a line in a bill, but it's fear in the eyes of our grandmothers and grandfathers, our opas and omas. And that fear, my friends, is something we have the power and the responsibility to end. At the end of the day, this isn't about politics. It's not about left and right. It's about whether a mom can walk her child to school without fear, whether a small business owner can open his doors without an extortionist calling at midnight, whether a senior, our omas and opas, can sit on the porch without looking over their shoulder. Now, Conservatives have put forward the Jail Not Bail Act, not because it sounds good on paper, but because it puts people first. It says public safety is the priority. It says if you commit a major crime, if you pull a gun, if you break into homes, if you assault your neighbors, you don't just stroll back out on the streets the next day. This bill tips the scales back where they belong. It restores balance. It protects victims. It puts common sense back at the heart of justice. And so I say to this Prime Minister, if he's serious about restoring peace in our communities, he will back this bill. He will correct his Justice Minister, and he will reverse his party's failed bail laws, because Canadians deserve better than ideology. They deserve safety. So let's do the right thing. Let's stand together. Let's pass the Jail Not Bail Act, and let's give our communities back their peace. Thank you.
Questions and comments? Questions et commentaires. The Honourable Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So many of the things that the member has referenced are going to be in the comprehensive bail reform legislation that the government will be putting out. It will be much more comprehensive and in-depth than the private member's bill that the motion mentions today. But beyond that, in order to have someone reach a bail hearing or a sentencing hearing, one has to be caught and charged. Bill C-2 provides provisions which allows police to be able to apprehend and charge those that are extortionists by allowing them to be able to receive subscriber information to telephone numbers and to IP addresses. It's essential in order to protect our children from cyber crime and threats, our seniors that are facing this issue, and from extortionists. I hope this member will be supporting that bill. Will she or will she not?
The Honourable Member for Cloverdale, Langley City.
The real issue here is the Liberal catch and release laws that they put in place and they keep putting dangerous people back on the street. The tragedy of our current system is that only takes one case to devastate a family or a community. When extortionists target businesses, or when someone like Adam Mann, already facing multiple charges, is still free to kill a young woman like Tori Dunn, no empty thoughts and prayers will bring comfort. We need to scrap the Liberal bail. This is a direct result of the Liberals' catch and release approach. Bill C-75 instructed judges to prioritize restraint, which has meant giving repeat violent offenders more chances than victims ever receive. The Jail Not Bail Act corrects that.
Questions and comments? Questions et commentaires. L'honorable député.
The Honourable Member for Shefford. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank my colleague for her speech. The issue of crime is complex, and you have to look at any intervention in criminal law from the widest perspective possible. That's why the Bloc Québécois has proposed, for example, measures to fight organized crime. That's something that's very important, to create a register of criminal organizations to make it easier to seize goods from organized crime and to prevent organized crime from parading with their patches, and to create a specific new offense for encouraging young people to commit crimes in the context of organized crime. So how is it that in the criminal code, hate speech in the context of religion is possible? I'd like to hear my colleagues' thoughts on these Bloc Québécois provisions. The Honourable Member.
Honestly, I want to come back to the real issue, and that is the Liberal catch and release system. That's the problem. Right now, judges are told to start from the principle of restraint, which tilts the balance away from the public safety. That's not the fault of the judiciary. It's the framework this House handed them with Bill C-75, and we need to scrap the Liberal bail. The Jail Not Bail Act doesn't undermine judges. It empowers them to protect the public. It directs them to weigh community safety first. It ensures they see the accused's full record, and it gives them tools to deny bail when serious risk is reasonably foreseeable. Judges need a law that lets them keep dangerous people behind bars. That's what our bill delivers, a framework built on common sense, not catch and release.
And comments? Questions et commentaires. The member for Yorkton Millville.
Thank you so much, Speaker. And the whole premise of this does not relate to other bills that may come forward. It is the need to scrap this bail non-reform bill. And it's not just us speaking about it. The premiers and attorney generals from Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and the member's province of BC have called for the removal of this particular bill from across the country. So what does the member think about that perspective in light of the support to scrap C-75?
The Honourable Member for Cloverdale, Langley City.
I want to thank my colleague for the good question. What is the most important right now is understanding that across Canada, when extortionists target banquet halls, when young women like Tori Dunn are murdered by someone already facing multiple charges, when seniors in Langley are afraid to walk outside after a brutal attack, those are all costs. They show up in policing, in healthcare, in lost economic activity, in the trauma families carry. We need to scrap the Liberal bail.